Hey folks, I'm Troy Dean.
I'm Simon Kelly.
And welcome to our live, interactive, completely free, nothing to sell, 100% pure content training, goal setting workshop for 2018, live right here on Ye Oldie Facebook. I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward very much to getting stuck into this, and as is Simon. So I hope you can stay with us. Ah, there we go. Somebody owes everybody a carton of beer. The phone just rang. Rule number one for 2018, turn your phone off.
Put that on the goals list.
Put that on the goals list. Don't even recognise the number, so you can wait. Right. Thank you and welcome to our awesome, epic goal-setting workshop for 2018. Before we actually, I'm highly embarrassed by the phone ringing. It's going to take me a while to let that one go.
You put the keys in the bowl and the phone in the bowl as you walk in, okay?
I know, I can't believe that happened.
We've got a checklist over here and everything.
Turn
Except,
phone
we've
off.
got a curtain over the front of it, so it doesn't really...
I owe everybody a carton of beer.
Yeah.
If you're ever in town, swing by the office and I'll buy you a carton of beer. Now, why? So here's the thing. Goal setting, usually, people don't set goals or even think about goal setting because it sounds boring. However, so before we get into this, how do you set goals and then how do you actually bring your goals to life and how do you achieve them? Before we get into this, I just want to talk a little bit about why goal setting matters, why it's important. Can I share a little story with you?
Help yourself.
Excellent. I'm glad you said yes, because it would have been awkward if you said no, because I was going to share the story anyway.
I thought as much.
I love doing this. I love hanging out. Believe it or not, I love hanging out with you on front of the camera and being an idiot and talking shit.
It's pretty good.
It's a lot of fun.
Yep.
However, it's taken me personally a long time to get here. And there's lots of stuff that happens behind the scenes that allow us to do this show. And it's not even really a show yet. We're just kind of still launching it. But there's lots of stuff that happens in the business behind the scenes that allow us to do this, right? There's a whole team delivering courses online, running a community, generating enough revenue so that we can pay for all this shit and we can have fun helping people, helping people with their business and running a business at the same time. So that's only been possible because I've, over the years, realised that the common denominator in all of my failures was was me. And therefore, I have become more diligent at setting my goals and achieving the goals in the business and deliberately structuring the business in a way where I get to have lots of fun. So if you think setting goals is boring and nerdy, remind yourself that the more that you set goals and the more that you achieve goals, the more you can structure your business in a way that will allow you to have fun and do what you do best, which is you being in your sweet spot and have the business built in a way that supports that. Whereas if you don't set your goals and you don't have a clear path and a clear focus, then you're just running from one opportunity to the next and you're getting distracted by shiny widgets because you don't know exactly where it is you're going. And that's been the big heart moment for me with goals over the years. You know, there's that cliche saying, if you haven't got a target, you'll miss it every time. It's a cliche, but it's true. For years, I didn't have a target and I didn't know where I was going and I was just grabbing opportunities as they came up. So I know hand on heart that setting goals and applying myself to achieve those goals has made a huge difference to my business and my life. Yep. There you go. My work is done. I'll see you later. What about you? What about you?
Well, yeah, there's an interesting thing about goals, and I see a lot of people, they try to get into the goal setting, but there's quite a few challenges when it comes to just setting goals in the first place. One is that things change, and so why set goals if things are changing and they're fluctuating so much? And really, like, my answer to my own question just then would be that it just helps to really like pave what you're just like projecting the future a bit, and like at this point in my life and at this point in my business, I want to get to this point. It doesn't mean that when you get halfway, that might not change. Like, that's okay, and that's part of it, right? Like, you set goals for 12 months, and then you get to 6 months, and things change, and you reset the goals, and you adapt them. That's totally part of it. So it's really just like, it's just setting, it's like throwing the stick out and walking to it. If you have to like walk a really ridiculously long way, just like, we're gonna head in this direction, so I'm just gonna put a marker there and say, when I get there, that's progress towards what I want to do. It doesn't mean I want to change directions or like stop for coffee or something on the way. It just means that you're just setting some kind of line in the sand to know that you're on the right direction. And that's why goal setting is so useful. Actually, my sister, who might actually be watching this, I remember a couple of years ago, Michelle, if you're watching, a couple of years ago, I was talking to her about goal setting, and she'd like...
Is your sister older or younger?
Older, just 2.5 years older than me. Yeah.
So you're giving advice to the older sister?
Yeah.
It's always dangerous.
Yeah, well, maybe that's why she hung up on me. So we're talking about goal setting, and she was just like, no, like got really awkward and just didn't really want to talk about it. And it was because she never really had done it before, and because of just what I said, like things change so rapidly. So why set goals if you're kind of just setting yourself up for failure? Because things change and you just don't know what's coming up in life. And over the past like 2 or 3 years since we talked about that, she's actually much more into goal setting. Only about 2 days ago, I was doing a bit of a goal setting session, and she messaged me at the same time and said, "Oh, I'm like planning out the year. You'd be so proud of me. Like we'll have to have a chat and just like kind of keep each other accountable." It's like, this is amazing. Like you've come such a long way to be able to talk about this. So, and she's gone a long way to achieve a lot of the things that she's wanted to do.
Do you think it's, for me, I know for years it was FOMO, that if I set this goal and I put all of my energy into this goal, I might miss out on all these other things because I've committed to this goal.
That's it, exactly. Yeah. It's not, that's not what it's about though. It's just about saying, okay, this is the right direction that I want to head in. And when things get thrown at me, all these different opportunities, you can kind of filter them out better. But it doesn't mean you say no to everything.
That's right.
Like it just means you have a better understanding. Like you've taken the time to set a benchmark and set kind of the template for how you want things to be. And when something totally left of field comes in, you assess that against the plan that you made towards the goals. You go, is that going to get me there?
Yeah.
Or am I just running towards some shiny widget at the moment?
Yeah.
It's going to distract me from
it. It gives you a compass we're going to talk about Yis Compass a little bit later, but it gives you a compass, which means you've got sort of a direction to head in.
That's it.
And it makes all of your decisions really easy because you simply say, well, does this opportunity, is this going to help me achieve my goal, or is it going to distract me from achieving my goal?
That's it. If you don't have if you don't have a direction to head, then every direction is the right way.
That's right.
Like everything's yes.
Yeah,
sure,
that's
but
right.
You need to go, well, no, that way. That's the one I'm going to go for.
Yeah. I just want to give a quick shout out to those of you watching us on Facebook. Stephanie Potter is here from Northern Carolina. Melanie Adcock is here from Florida. Hi, Melanie. Rita is here from Morocco. Jeffrey from New Jersey. Hey, Jeffrey. Moore Cohen is here. Max is here from Spain. There's lots of people watching. Paul Graham is here. Stephanie Campanella is here. Epi Adams is here from Wyoming. There's over 150 people viewing this right now. It's ridiculous. We are going to blow up Facebook. We're going to blow up the interwebs. In fact, I'm sure this live stream will be so popular that Facebook will just start running ads in the middle of our live stream. So don't be alarmed if that happens. If it does, we've got no control over that. But if it does happen,
I hope it's a WP Elevation ad.
So do I. Greg Davis is here from Colorado. Hey, Greg, how you doing? Everyone here is saying hi. We are going to ask for some feedback from you guys. Pete Everett says, hey, you really are live now. Yes, I just emailed Pete. I told you, dude. Sorry about the time zone confusion, man. There has been lots of confusion around the time zones. But we are here, we are live, there's lots of people watching. It's awesome, it's epic. So, we've talked a little bit about why goal setting is important. I just want to touch on a couple of other things before we get into the nitty gritty. Goal setting for me has allowed me to, I'm a fairly, I wouldn't say highly strung, but I would say energetic individual. And what that means is that I can end up being overwhelmed quite a lot of the time, and I can end up feeling paralyzed by anxiety of just kind of waking up or coming into work and just going, what the hell am I supposed to do now? Because there's just so much that I want to do, right?
All at once.
All at once. Right now, in the same moment.
Exactly.
In the same web browser. And I've like 28,000 web browsers open and my computer just crashes and then I can't get anything done and I freak out. So, goal setting has allowed me to stay focused. My wife, by the way, as you know, is a psychologist and she's very much into mindfulness. She's kind of not anti-technology, but she doesn't like the way that technology permeates our lives. She's very much into, she's the one that really taught me that multitasking is bad for your brain, and she's got kind of the training to back that up. So for me, it's helped me stay focused, it's helped me stay calm, and it's reduced my stress levels it's helped me say no to more things than I would ordinarily say no to because I have that goal in mind. So just from a personal kind of enjoying your day point of view, goal setting has made a huge change to my life and my overall well-being and mental health.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah.
I think.
It's just, reducing the amount of decisions that you need to make, really.
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
Because how many, if you were to, if I think about this pretty often, like if you were to look at the whole year and how much time you spent on certain things, and like at the end of the year, you had like a printout of your statistics of things you spent time looking at, and one of them was in limbo about which decision to make.
Yeah.
And it's like you spent 17 weeks of the year just thinking about what the right decision was to make. And I had a bit of time to reflect on that. And I probably would have a lot of reflection time actually as well in my stats, but just time where I'm thinking like, oh my God, is that the best thing to do? Should I do this? Which way should I do it? Oh my God, is that the right thing? But yeah, getting those goals, like getting the foundations right, it just helps to reduce that a bit. And it doesn't mean no forever. Like sometimes there'll be something that comes up and it's just like, well, with what I'm trying to achieve right now, the amount of time that I've got, and I planned a bit of my quality of life as well, and revenue goals, and what I want to do with the family. With all of those things, this opportunity coming in now is going to take so much more time, and it's just not going to help me get to those goals. So it's a no for now.
That's right.
Let's revisit this.
It's a someday maybe, but not right now.
That's it. Yep.
Considering the fact that on average, most of us spend around about 2 minutes per week having an orgasm, I don't think we should be spending 17 weeks a year trying to make a decision. That should be the new rule for 2018. You shouldn't spend more time procrastinating than you spend having an orgasm. That's a pretty good rule for everyone,
That's
right?
a good poster.
Right. Yeah, it's a good poster. Stick that up in your office. Spend more time having an orgasm than procrastinating. Yeah. There you go. Orgasms trump procrastination. And I just wanted to say the word orgasm again. So, I've even cracked Ray up. Yes! All right, that was my goal for the year. I'm done.
Yeah, pretty good.
Excellent, fantastic.
Q1's looking great.
Right, it is. So, let's talk about what type of goals we think we should be setting. Let's talk about what kind of goals, before we get into the how, let's talk about what kind of goals we should be setting.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Sounds good.
Go on then.
Yeah,
Go
off
on
you
then.
go.
Go on then. I'm sure you've got something
Yeah, definitely.
wise to offer.
Yeah. Well, one of the key things I find in the business world, in the self-employed world, and the solopreneur world is how much it relates to the business and business growth and revenue goals and building the team and all of those things. And I think people tend to lose sight of what that's meant to do for you. Like, what does that do for you with your family, with your life, with your quality of life, and the other things that you want to achieve in your own life? Because at the end of the day, and maybe speaking for myself here, but the business is meant to work for you. It's meant to do something. Yeah, well,
You're kidding.
Yeah,
I thought you're supposed to be a slave to your own small business.
That's it.
That's why I went
the
into
rest of
business.
your life.
I went into business for myself to spend all of my money to design the worst job possible, where I work all of the time, have no break, and the worst boss in the world.
Did you succeed with this goal?
I did, absolutely.
Yeah, well
I
done.
succeeded very quickly.
Yeah.
And then realised that I hated it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So remind me again, why are we in business for ourselves?
To improve our own lives. Like if we structure your business, like it's got to give value, obviously, because otherwise the marketplace will reject it, and like there's obviously those kind of things that need to come into play. But setting up the business and setting up your life so that you have a good life, I think is a pretty good overall overarching like structure of your top level goals, really. So. I tend to try to focus on some of the personal goals first, and then come into the business goals, because they're more of like a how do I achieve the bigger like meta goals about my life, as opposed to they are the bigger goals that I want to achieve, because it's a vessel to help me get what I want, right? Because if I didn't, I don't know, if I didn't have to run the business, or if I didn't have to earn money, I don't know exactly what the hell I would do.
Yeah,
but yeah.
That's an interesting conversation in itself. I had this conversation about 3 months ago with my business partner. Because we were basically going to put all of our money into Bitcoin and make a squillion. And I said to my business partner, if we made a squillion and you didn't have to work, I'd probably still come to work and do this anyway.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, I could sit on the beach and read a book for, about
10 minutes?
No, I reckon
Get
I could
boring?
probably do a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
and then I'd be bored out of my brain, because I'd be reading books about value and business and marketing and community, and I'd want to just come and do this again. You know what I mean? I love doing this.
Yeah.
This is what I would do even if I wasn't getting paid to do it.
Yeah.
In fact, I can't believe someone pays me to do this.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. So that's a good conversation to have. What would you do if you didn't need the money? If you did, if money wasn't an issue, what would you do? It's a good place to start.
That was actually a big realization for me in 2017, and like thanks to WP Elevation, pretty much. Is I love doing this as well. I love teaching. That wasn't really, and I love public speaking, even though it scares the absolute shit out of me. But I love it. I just love the leading up to it. I'm extremely scared usually, or there's some kind of feeling. It's probably excitement, and I've just called it being scared. And during, it's kind of like this nothingness where it's just happening and it's pretty awesome. And then afterwards, it's just this mass acceleration and it just feels absolutely fantastic. So one of the big things for me in 2018 is to do more teaching and do more live videos and just get out there more and to, embrace that fear a bit more, because it just feels awesome. And that's the kind of thing, it's like, if I, wasn't getting paid for it or anything like that, I would just love to do it. I just love to be out there teaching and just trying to communicate with people and give more value. So for me, that's a big energy booster for me, and it's something I would do anyway. So it's like that's got to be in the goals somewhere.
Yep.
Like what does that look like as a goal?
Yep. So you start with your personal goals.
Yeah.
Yeah. What other types of goals do you set? Once you've nailed down your personal goals, then what's your framework then?
Yeah. Well, like this, I guess relates a bit more to personal as well, but it's more of it's like education about the world is the next thing for me. So it's travel, it's meeting new people, it's what kind of additional education do I think that I need? Like, what do I want to learn about, and how can I put in some time to learn certain things about the world? And I'm really interested in psychology and social science and criminology, and I just don't spend hardly
You studied criminology, didn't you?
Yeah. It's 3 years of criminology, and then just started making websites.
Yeah. For criminals?
Well, it turns out some of them maybe. No. Hope not. Acquitted. They're all acquitted.
Alleged criminals. Yes.
So spending some more time with those things that I'm really passionate about. So personal, and then education, and like families involved in that, and travel. And then like, how can I get there now? How can I get this lifestyle that I want? Like, what am I going to need to do? Well, how much money am I going to need? How much time am I going to need to achieve this? And stay healthy as well. So fitness related things.
Yep. Fitness goals. Yep.
Yeah, fitness goals and health goals have to be at the top, because if you're sick and you're not treating yourself properly, you're not getting enough sleep, then you just can't really achieve anything at all, right? Like you're just
100%.
completely stuck.
The body is a temple, man.
Yeah.
You need to worship the temple, man.
Yeah, that's it. More orgasms than thinking about. What was the last part? More orgasms is all I got.
That's right, exactly. Worship the temple and have more orgasms.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, so then we get into the business side of things. Okay, so what do I want to do with the business? So one of the first things I actually look at is like, okay, I look back at the year. I look back at like what is it that I achieved last year, and what kind of didn't go the way that I really wanted it to, and not like beat myself up over the things that I didn't get. Because I've got a Trello board that I use for my yearly planning, and I just look back every quarter and just be like, am I doing any of this? Like, how did this go?
Yeah.
So I look back at the whole year and just see how I went with like the goals and different tasks that I tried to do. Look back at the calendar as well, week by week, and just have a look and like, wow, I did a lot of stuff. Like, that's pretty awesome. Didn't achieve all of my goals, but damn, did I get distracted and do a bunch of things. And it was good fun. So I get into, did that work for me, and did it help me get where I wanted to? So we dive into the money goals after that. So like, what money do I need to be able to do the travel, to be able to hire a team, to be able to live these lifestyle goals that I want to do? And yeah, obviously that comes down to the business, because that is my source of employment and money generation. So what, on the one hand, what is the money goal, but then what actually comprises to make that money? Because you can set a goal like, I want to make $100,000 for myself. But then there's so many different ways you can do that, and that actually affect those lifestyle goals. Because I could make it working like all the time, sure, and then I've achieved that goal, great. But if I'm not looking at the lifestyle goals as well, then it's not really going to work for me. So what other ways can I be a bit smarter about how the business can generate money?
Cryptocurrency.
Yeah, all signs point to crypto.
Sorry.
All signs point to crypto.
That's right.
So like, looking at what I was saying before about things that energize me, so things like workshops is like, now new goals are coming up now, because I'm looking at the bigger picture. I'm looking at what I want in my personal life. So I'm looking at traveling. I'm looking at like, I love to do more teaching. So that gets the replay of that. So I'm developing an online course, doing more teaching, doing like traveling and doing workshops. So now as I'm actually planning my goals are changing as I'm doing them because I'm focusing on the bigger ones first. And to me, that whole process is actually, it's really interesting as to what comes up.
And it's opened up the types of services that you can offer because in your situation, just smashing out, 50 or 60 websites a year to achieve whatever revenue goals you've got is probably going to mean that you and the whole team are stressed out, you're not having any fun, you're not having any leisure time, you're not developing your education, you're not investing in professional development because you don't have any time because you're just smashing out websites to make that revenue goal.
Yeah, exactly.
So looking at your goals holistically has allowed you to say, okay, well, running workshops is a great way for me to travel. It's a great way for me to leverage my revenue because I can teach, 100 people what I could teach one person and get paid to teach those people. I can do some public speaking and some keynote presentations. So those things are now coming into play because you're looking at all of your goals holistically, not just focusing on the revenue.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and that kind of only comes up during the goal setting session. It's not really evident when you're just sitting around thinking about it. So yeah, that kind of process, the whole process of goal setting actually brings out the goals that you want to achieve. So, it's definitely worth sitting around and spending a half day on setting these.
Couple of things. Connie Brand says, can you share your Trello board as a template? Yes, we will, Connie. Definitely share that a little bit later on. The other thing I want to note is that on Facebook, your hair looks fabulous.
Just from that side,
it looks better than mine. I think we need to have a conversation, Simon.
What about this side?
Your hair just cannot look better than mine, dude.
Not so much that side.
Why does your hair look better than mine? Who's your hairdresser? You go to Bearded Man, don't you?
Oh, this is all me. No, yeah, Bearded Man. Yeah. This is like way overdue though. God damn.
Well, I'm saying it's in pretty good nick. You've got good New Year's hair. Now, there will be a replay, Anya. Yes, there will be a replay up on Facebook, and we'll also stick this up on... I'm just seeing you turned it. We also will stick this up on YouTube as well. And Kath Hughes says she's very excited to see the word orgasms on the whiteboard the next time she visits the office in Melbourne. Excellent. Right, so any other type of goals that you set?
I also, these aren't goals, but I put down what are some big events in the year. So what are some important things that I need to just be paying attention to? Like people's birthdays.
Yeah.
That's actually one of my goals is to make sure I'm getting, I don't know if this is a weird goal, but just make sure I'm getting presents to people I care about on time.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah, it is definitely important. I just haven't really been very good at
if there's a chance that you might be in their will.
Yeah, true.
You don't want to forget their birthdays too many years because then you might not be in their will.
That's true.
So it's a good return on investment if you can remember your mum's birthday. I also like to set impact goals. I like to think about the kind of impact that I want to have on the world and the number of people that I want to help through my work and the way that I want to help them and what that actually looks like. We've been very fortunate. I've been very fortunate to meet some people in real life. Robert Simmons comes to mind. Corey Hind is another one that comes to mind. These people have come up to me at talks at WordCamps overseas and thanked me and the team for all the work we've done because it's allowed them to quit their job and work from home with their wife full-time in their business. Yeah. And for me, that's a huge reward for all the work that we put into the business here. So some of my impact goals are being able to reach those people in faraway places on the other side of the planet and help them achieve their goals.
Yeah. Do you put that down to like a particular number? Like you put that down as an impact goal or like the number, bit of feedback?
I do, in terms of, so the impact goal that we have for 2018 is that we want to help 1,000 WordPress consultants start or grow their own consulting business and make it successful and profitable and sustainable. So, which essentially means that we want 1,000 people to go through the WP Elevation program. That's how we achieve that goal.
Yeah.
The goal is we want to help 1,000 WordPress consultants achieve their goals. How we do it is through the WP Elevation training program. But we don't start with the how, we start with the what we're going to do. And before that, we, to coin Simon Sinek's phrase, we start with why. Why are we even here? Why is that our goal? Our goal is our goal because that's where we started out. We started out as struggling WordPress developers, not really knowing how to run our business. We got frustrated going to WordCamps and looking at all these great talks about BuddyPress and you know, what you could do with this plugin and what you can do with, you know, WP CLI and what you can do with this theme framework, but no one was really teaching business stuff. This is back in 2010, 2011. So we decided to become the WordPress business training company because we wanted to help ourselves and we wanted to help other people. That's why we exist. What we do is we help WordPress consultants. How we do it is through the training program. So that's kind of the way that we approach it. And the impact goal for this year is to help 1,000 consultants through our program.
Yeah, that's great. And starting with that top level why, if you say like we want to help WordPress consultants improve their business and, you know, in turn improve their lives. If you're starting with that, then when other opportunities come up, you can do the litmus test against that. Like, does this help WordPress consultants improve their business and improve their lives? If yes, then great. This could be something that we can add to our list. If not, then no.
Let me give you a real example of that. I get asked to be on podcasts quite a lot, and I get other guests pitching to be on our podcast. And those decisions are made based on, I ran a podcast this morning with Ben Pines, who's the Chief Marketing Officer from the Elementor plugin. I wasn't really aware of Elementor until a few months ago. I've been using other page builders up until recently, and I will continue to use all those page builders. But I discovered Elementor recently because Ben reached out to me and said, one of the guys in our office is listening to your podcast and he loves it and he's introduced it to me and I love what you guys are doing. You're talking the same language. I'd love to be on your podcast. I'd love to collaborate with you guys in some way. They've got over 400,000 installs of their free version of their plugin. They've got an email list of over 150,000 people. Primarily, those people are building websites for clients using WordPress. They're an exact fit for us. We will put resources into that relationship, whereas if Russell Brunson comes along from ClickFunnels and wants to interview me on his podcast, yes, of course, I would love to be on his podcast, but time permitting, if I have to make a decision about which rabbit hole to go down, I'm going to go down the Elementor rabbit hole, even though it might be great for my ego to be on Russell's podcast. Is it going to help me achieve my goal?
That's it.
The answer probably is no, because people using ClickFunnels don't really use WordPress. People who use Elementor are my target audience. So the goal is the compass that I use to make the decision. By the way, Russell, if you're watching, I'd love to be on your podcast. So please shoot me an email.
Everything to be on it.
Exactly. I'm a fame whore, and I have a very fragile ego, so I'd love to be on your podcast.
Good to know.
Yeah. So impact goals is the other type of goals that I set. Anything else? We've covered personal goals. We've covered business goals. We've covered impact goals. Have we talked about revenue goals?
A little bit. Like they're. Yeah, I have a pretty loose way of setting my revenue goals. I have a look at.
Hey, my brother's just joined in watching. Hey, Lee, how you doing? He's
Awesome.
just joined in watching the live stream. How you going, man? Good to see you. Don't pay any attention to anything I say. I'm completely full of it. Okay, I have no idea what I'm talking about, and I don't even know who this bloke is. So.
Pulled off the street.
Yeah.
So this is when I get to the revenue goals, for me that gets into the how. It's not really the top level for me. It's like I do the top level goals and the revenue is like, what do I need to achieve that now? Because you could make $1 million with in revenue for the business and still not get your goals. You can make $200,000 in your business and absolutely smash your goals.
Yeah.
So that's the point where I'm like it's a bit more flexible and adaptable because it's like it's the how for me. The revenue is how to achieve those goals. So it fluctuates.
Because revenue is, it's kind of like the only way we have of measuring whether or not we're achieving our goals. So yeah, you can have revenue goals, but so for us, I know what the revenue goal looks like if we achieve the goal of helping 1,000 WordPress consultants through our program. I know what that means in terms of revenue. Now, yeah, I can look at our active subscriber count throughout the year, but I can also look at our revenue. I can share our revenue goals with my business partner, with our accountants, with our staff, and I can say, well, the needle's moving, but it's not moving enough. What do we need to do in the next 3 months to achieve that revenue goal? Because that's one surefire way of looking at a scorecard and saying we're on track to achieve all of our goals in the business.
Yeah, exactly.
The other thing that revenue goals do is that achieving revenue goals, if you're factoring in and you've got your margins worked out and you've got your profitability worked out, achieving a revenue goal means that you'll have a certain amount of profit that you can reinvest back into the business through resources, staff, better equipment, better infrastructure, so that you can continue to scale, so that you can achieve your impact goals. That's kind of the way I think about revenue. And for years, I chased revenue goals. And what I found is that it just is not, for me, it's not enough kind of sounds weird, but it's not enough to get me out of bed every day and get me excited, especially when you start meeting customers that you've had a positive impact on and they start giving you that feedback and you start building that community. That is what then becomes the fuel for me. The revenue is secondary.
Yeah.
I know that there's a direct correlation between the number of people you help and how much you help them and the amount of money you have in your bank. But if you chase the money, then you're just day trading cryptocurrencies, aren't you?
Yeah, that's it, exactly, yeah. It's just one measure. I think you said that quite
Which can
well.
be a very emotional experience, day trading cryptocurrencies.
You've been burned.
So should we talk, there's a lot of people watching on Facebook here, and I'm a little bit freaked out. There's 174 current viewers here on Facebook. It's epic. I just want to say, awesome. Matthew Farrelly says, Elemental rocks. Gunnard says, do you make cold calls? No, is the answer to that question. We can talk more about that on another call. Jeffrey says, I'm one of the 1,000. That's a goal. Jeffrey Marbury. He's one of our active members. There you go. Cami says, I had a 10% increase over last year. Count me as one of the 1,000. There you go. So these are some of the people that we're helping. This is good. How should we set goals in terms of learning new things? That's a great question, Harshil. I'll talk a little bit about that when I share my calendar with you in a moment and show you how I use my calendar to achieve goals. Because setting goals is one thing. I've done this before too. I've set all these great, fantastic goals at the start of the year and then looked back at them at the end of the year and gone, I didn't do anything to achieve those goals. I just goofed
didn't
off.
They happen? Yeah.
I just goofed about.
Yeah.
Whereas now I've got a fairly good structure through my week that helps me stay focused. And I will share a little bit more about that as we get through this call. All right. So, do we want to look at a little bit of the how here?
I think we should definitely jump into that.
Let's do it.
And just kind of one last thing with the goal setting. It's when it comes to, if you're feeling a bit uncomfortable about setting goals or you're feeling a bit uncomfortable at the process for achieving them, that is totally normal, especially if you're just getting started with this. So you just embrace that and roll with it and just accept that that's part of what you're doing. And practice is actually going to help you. It doesn't really get rid of that feeling, but it turns that feeling from, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, to I'm really excited about what the hell I'm doing. So just roll with that awkward kind of feeling and it'll actually become something you're excited about eventually.
The other thing I want to talk about before we get into the how here is I'm reading a book at the moment, which is by far and away the best book I have read in a long, long time. It's called Scaling Up by Vern Harnish. It's actually version 2 of a book he wrote, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago called Mastering the Rockefeller Habits. Of course, Rockefeller's the, man behind building one of the most successful companies in the world, ExxonMobil, also maybe one of the most environmentally damaging companies in the world, but that's another story. And Vern wrote a book about mastering the Rockefeller habits and how to grow a company. And he's revised that book. It's now called Scaling Up, which is version 2 of the book. It's fantastic. One of the things he talks about when it comes to goal setting is setting goals that you think are 75% achievable. So in other words, if you set a goal that you know you can achieve, it's not actually going to motivate you to get off your ass and work hard enough to get there because you know you're going to achieve it, right? If you set a goal that is too way off in the distance, like putting a man on the moon, for me and you, I'm never going to put a man on the moon, I don't have the money or the infrastructure to do it, then I'm not even going to bother trying because the lizard brain kind of goes, well, that's impossible, so let's not even devote any energy to it. Whereas if you set a goal that is about 75% achievable, so you know that it can be done, you know that you can achieve it, but you know that you are going to have to work your pants off to get there, that's the kind of goal you want to be setting. So don't be lazy, challenge yourself, but also set a goal that you feel is about 75% realistic that you're going to achieve it. Yeah.
And you want when you set this goal to go, hell yeah, like you want it to like excite you when you see this goal. It's not just like it's a little bit better than last year. You want to be like, oh, let's really push this a bit, not go overboard, but let's push, let's get a little uncomfortable here to the edge of our comfort zone. And go, hell yes, I would love to achieve that. We were talking about
this before the show actually. We said every now and then you just got to look in the mirror and look at yourself and go, hell yeah.
Every day.
There you go.
Every now and then or every day?
I feel like Tony Robbins. All right, so let's talk about some of the tactics and workflows and tools that we use to set goals and more importantly, start moving the needle to achieving those goals. Is anyone still paying attention? Yes, look, we now have 183 viewers. Oh my Lord. People must be sharing it. They must think what we're doing here is valuable in some way. There we go. Giannis Freris has shared scalingup.com, how a few companies make it and why the rest don't. That is the book, and it is Vern Harnish. It's a fantastic book. Go check it out. All right, let's do it, man. Let's talk about best self.
Cool. So something I did last year is I got the best self, I guess you call it a planner. And so what this does is it plans a quarter at a time. So I definitely wouldn't start with this because I like to plan the whole year first. So want to map that out, and we'll get into that in a sec. But what this does, and I was telling you this off camera before, you set your goals. Starts off with your roadmap, your 13-week roadmap. And I think, I don't know if we're going to be able to see this very well, but we've got your goal.
Just over this camera here. Just over this camera here. Look at that, beautiful.
So you've got your goal at the top there. You've got your goals, and then you've got your progress milestones to get there. And then you've got the things that you have to do to get to your milestones, yeah? So your daily actions and task, which is what they actually call in this the 20-mile march. It's just moving consistently in the right direction. And they've got a little bit of a story around that, but I'll let you have a read of that because I think it's on their website too. So what they actually do is they have you write down what it is you want to achieve after 13 weeks. And then what are the milestones to help you get there. So let's just say we've got something like $200,000 in revenue. So how I know I'm getting there is because I've got $30,000 per month in recurring. And I'm making up the rest of the revenue with different projects. So let's say we've got 10 websites, $30,000 a month in recurring. That's going to they're the milestones to let me know that I'm getting towards that particular revenue goal. So now what am I going to do every day to get to each one of those goals? So it's pretty loose structure, but it's quite basic. And if you plan out just a couple of those things, it just helps you set those really key activities that are going to help you get to that goal. And then it actually has you write a pledge. So I, Simon Kelly, make a commitment to this particular date to achieve this particular goal. And when I achieve this, it's going to improve my life in these ways. I really love how it will improve my life in these ways. It's not just, I'm just going to generate revenue just for the sake of it or achieve a goal just for the sake of it. My life is going to improve in these ways. And that's helping to create that emotional connection to that goal, I think. And that is one of the biggest things. You were saying before about why do I get up in the morning? If you don't have that spark and if you don't have that energy in the morning, if you think revenue and you're just like, I guess I'll get out of bed and try to achieve that. But if you think about how it's going to improve your life, if you think about how, completing your diet or losing a certain amount of weight, how that's going to impact your life, if that's the part that you're really holding on to, that's the stuff that's going to get you out of bed in the morning. So I think it was a really great framework, especially if you're new to setting goals, to be able to help you get there. One thing I really struggled with was the daily...
This is the self-journal, is it?
It's the self-journal.
The self-journal.
Yeah.
Yep, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, like it's a bit expensive. What's that?
Yep,
Australian,
$47.
so 47 Australian.
There you go.
But yeah, totally worth it. Yeah, I thought it was great. One thing I struggled was with the daily activities, and it was really it felt really awkward at the beginning. Like, oh, I'm useless at this. I can't do this because there was a lot of work that had to be done, like planning out your day, and then what the 3 things you're going to achieve to help you get to that goal. Just really felt like work and reflection at the end of the day. But it was just day by day, just really trying to build that habit. It started to become really enjoyable after about 3 weeks. So that's a really good one. Now remember, these are just frameworks. We're just sharing frameworks to help you get there. These aren't things you necessarily have to do. It's all about trying something and just to see what works well for you. So no, have you used this one before?
No, I haven't.
No? It's a good one though.
Yeah, it is. It's a great one. I'm considering getting it. Yep, it is a good one. I generally journal. I'll at the start of the year, I'll generally just get a notepad and I'll just kind of write out a couple of pages of what I want my year to look like.
Right.
And then I use Asana to manage all my goals and manage my daily tasks and my sprints and what it is I want to achieve, and then go back and look at what I've achieved and what I haven't. And Ray will be the first to tell you I haven't been the best at using Asana over the years. I'm getting a lot better at it in terms of staying focused, but I haven't actually, it's been a long time since I've actually handwritten my goals out.
Yeah, it feels good though. It's like there's another connection there by handwriting the goals as well.
Definitely.
Yeah. And this is not an app. You can go away.
And it's funny
because
to
a nice spot and
it's funny because
together.
as soon as I go and look for that, I look for their software. I look for their app. Yeah, I'm like, where's their app? They've got to have an app. That's because I have shiny object syndrome.
I just dropped something, so 1 sec.
Bestself.co is the web address for that, or you can just use the link that Ray shared there on the live stream. Okay, Very good. So best self. Anything else you want to talk about with best self?
No, I reckon, I think it was great. Yeah,
Yep.
I highly recommend it. Give it a try, but don't try everything at once because you'll get totally overwhelmed and you'll be doing more work on planning than you will in actually doing. So remember that the doing is really important as well. Plan early and make steps towards achieving, but just don't continuously plan as a form of like procrastinating getting stuff done.
Cool.
Yeah. Easy trap to fall into, that one. Is like, oh, I've got to set up my to-do-list properly, and my Asana, and my teamwork, and I'm going to get this and this and all of these different things. Now I'm ready. I've
been down that rabbit hole so many times. Evernote and Asana and, things and
they all work
Google
fine.
Keep. Yeah, that's right. They all do the same thing. It's not the tool, it's how you use it.
That's it.
All right. Let's talk about Yis Compass.
Yeah, so this one was actually shared by Mike Killen, who is coach at WP Elevation. And I'd never seen this one before, but this is a free download. I just got the A5 one and just stapled it in black and white. Doesn't look very, very sexy, but it's awesome. Totally free, no opt-in required. You get this from, there you go, wpelevation.com/compass. Will take you to the website. So you print this one out, and it's just a series of questions. So I took a couple of beers and 4 hours and went down to the park, put headphones on, and just jumped into this with my favorite pen, and it was good. Yeah, so it gets started with looking back at the previous year. So what I was saying before about looking back at the calendar, this was actually an exercise from this, is looking back on the previous year's calendar and just going through and just seeing, like, I have awful handwriting, so this is my code, so no one can understand what I've actually done. But just writing all the things that I did in the year, and just that process in itself, coming into a new year, the process of looking back at the old year was actually like, oh wow, I did a heap of stuff, because I was looking at my goals and like, I got like half of them done. That was very disconcerting for me. But then looking at what I actually did, none of these, half of these things were not even on the goals list. But I was like, I really did a lot more than I expected, which is awesome. And then it goes into like, what was the year about? Like, breaks down between like personal life, family, work, studies, finances. So it's not just about business, which I think is actually really good about this book, about this process. Anything that was on the bucket list, did I achieve any of those? Just two things for me was I wanted to do star photography for ages, which I have a camera and the stars are out, I think every night, aren't they? Yeah. So for some reason, I just procrastinated doing that, and I just thought, one day I will. And then one day I did, and I was like, oh, that was easy, wasn't it? Yeah, and it was great. I actually took a really good shot. It was awesome. And another one for me was competing in the Australian Rollerblading Open, which I just thought, like, I help organize it as a way to like, well, secretly to procrastinate from being in it. Because if I'm organizing it, then I'm doing a thing. So then I was in it this year, and it was like, extremely nervous, but it was awesome. I had a great time and just kind of went, I've already, just by entering this, I've already achieved the goal. So whatever I do in this competition is a bonus, and that's fine. Yeah, it was good fun.
Did you win?
Hell no.
Doesn't matter.
Not even close. But yeah, I won to myself by going in the thing.
That's right. The only battle is the battle within.
That's it, yeah. But yeah, didn't win, that was upsetting.
Awesome. So this is Yis Compass?
Yeah.
So you'd anything else you want to talk about with the Yis Compass?
Yeah, well, just take the time to go through it. So it's a lot about looking back on the previous year, and there's only about 1/3 of it is about looking ahead to the year ahead. And one of the questions that Ray and I were talking about before is having a word for the year ahead. And I know Ray usually has one. He has his own challenges that he likes to put together. And this had the question like, what is my word for the year ahead? And for me, it's self-expression. So something that I want to really, just summarizes what I want to achieve this year is just to be able to just be more comfortable with just putting stuff out there without thinking like, oh, is this the right thing to say? Is this the right thing to do? I want to create this, but I don't know exactly what to do. And I'm thinking about what other people will think of it. And instead I'm like, I just want to express it and just get it out there. And then just putting it out there is the correct thing to do. So that just helps me just reset, and I can look back and go, okay, just remember to just put stuff out there, express, to me that means asking for help. It means just showing that I don't know what the hell I'm doing pretty much all the time, and just being cool with that.
Yep.
Yeah, just being a bit more honest with myself and with other people. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, definitely take half a day, get yourself a nice drink, and go through that. It's really, really awesome. Definitely recommend it.
Sweet. My word for the year, by the way, is Bitcoin. No, it's not actually. My word for the year is mindfulness.
Cool.
It's part of I kind of have New Year's resolutions. I don't really do New Year's resolutions, but I just had a little conversation with myself that kind of went, I want to slow down, I want to be more mindful, and I want to be more present in the home.
Yeah, cool.
So when I'm home, I'm not working or thinking about work, I'm actually present in the home. It's what happens when you have a baby boy.
You're not just like half on the computer, half on your phone. Oscar's like, where is Oscar?
That's right, exactly. Oscar? Who's Oscar? A couple of questions here before we move on. Darlene says, how is your team doing the words on the screen? It looks very good. Well, it's funny you mentioned that, Darlene.
There's a big team behind the scenes
That's
here.
right. It's funny you mentioned that. We sat down a while ago and we wrote out some goals of what we wanted to achieve in the live stream studio. This was late 2016. And we went and bought a very expensive piece of hardware called a Livestream HD Studio 550. It's made by Livestream, who are now owned by Vimeo, by the way. And it's called a HD Studio. It's called an HD Studio 550. It's about 12 grand US, I think. And it is it's what we're using right now. It's a live stream with 3 high definition Canon C100 cameras and the microphones, computer inputs, lights, and Ray's doing the lower thirds and the station logos. It's all happening. It's basically a very expensive laptop in a box. I hope that answers that question. Check out our YouTube channel. There's a whole bunch of stuff over there about how we've built the studio and how we are continuing to build it.
So if you're ever doing live stream yourself, this is the minimum that you have to do.
That's right,
basically.
exactly.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
right. This is the minimum.
benchmark.
This is Troy's version of a minimum viable product. Okay, so the next thing we want to talk about, so we've talked about best self, we've talked about the Yis Compass. I'm ticking these off in Asana as we go because that's what we're using to keep ourselves on track. Now we want to talk about Simon's Trello board. I felt like we needed like a horn section or something, you know?
Yeah. It's not bad.
Simon's Trello board.
I used to play the trumpet.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I used to play the recorder.
I did as well, but like,
I
is
did, I
that
played
an
the
instrument?
recorder.
Like, would you call that an instrument?
Absolutely.
Just
What do you mean? Is the recorder an
Just a
instrument?
noisemaker.
Excuse me. I was in a recorder ensemble when I was about 6 years old.
Oh, good. Okay.
Thank you.
I was wondering how high the age would get. Like, yeah.
Also played the.
I just stopped last year.
Also played the angklung. Do you know what an angklung is?
No.
An angklung is an Indonesian bamboo instrument that is bamboo pipes with some little bamboo shoots, and you rattle it, and each angklung makes one note. And so to play a song with an angklung, you have to be part of an ensemble, and you follow the bouncing ball. It's like karaoke. You follow the bouncing ball, and when it gets to your note, you go, drrr, and then you stand there for another 2 minutes and go, drrr, drrr, and everyone goes drrr, drrr, drrr at the right time, and
cool.
it makes a song.
What's it called?
Angklung.
Angklung.
Angklung. Someone look up angklung for
Yeah.
us, will you, and show us a photo on the interwebs. There you go. Tonight on The Boring Show, Troy tells us what instruments he used to play in primary school. No, we're going to look at Simon's Trello board. Here we go.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the board that I use for pretty high level planning for myself.
Fiona says, focus.
Yeah.
Sorry, Fiona.
What was that?
Sorry.
And you're on the comments already.
I
You're
know.
like,
I'll
we're going to look
struggle
at this.
at
No,
the
wait.
best
We're
of
going to go to the comments.
That's why we've got Simon.
Yeah.
Trello board.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. All right, so I use this for pretty high level planning, mostly for the business. And I also do this with clients as well. So this process I did with a client about 2 weeks ago, and they absolutely loved it. It's a really simple process. It also helps to make sure you've got some work for the next 12 months, which is always good. And it's quite simple. So what we do is we've got a section for the wish list. So the wish list is all the things that we want to achieve this year. So you want to just let yourself go in the wish list. You just want to really think, what do I want to achieve this year? What are some big things? Try to avoid doing like to-do items, like call accountant back because I keep just hanging up on them and not answering their calls. You want to make it something a bit bigger. This is when we want to get into the SMART goals. So specific, measurable, achievable, is that the A? Relevant and time-based. So you want to be putting those goals in there, right? Don't be too structured into how you put those goals together, but the SMART goals is a pretty good structure to help with that. So work on these with yourself or with your clients, depending on which way you're doing this. Get all the things that you want to achieve in the year. Get them all out there. Take about half an hour to put this together, usually, And if you end up with about 40 things, that's a pretty good number to put together and then divide into the 4 quarters. So what I was actually doing with my client as well is we added in the key events, like what are some conferences that they need to go to in each of the different quarters. So we filled that out, and that really just helped to get the ball rolling as well, because you didn't have to think so much about like, oh, goals, like I don't know, like what do we actually want to achieve, and it takes a bit of time to get into the habit of that, and just into the mindset, of the exercise. But just starting with some of the key events, it helps to get the ball rolling, helps to get some things down into the Trello board. And then you start to think, all right, well, what do we want? I'm just going to think of business things. What do we want our email subscribers to look like? What do we want our revenue to look like? What kind of marketing collateral do we need to produce? What does our team need to look like? What kind of impact do we want to have on our clients, on the world? What are some of the things that we really wanted to do last year and we didn't get them done, but they're still really important? Some of the things that you didn't do last year, they're not important anymore, and that's why you didn't do them, and that's fine. Let them go. But what are some things that we didn't do and we really want to get these done this year? Put them all in the wish list, and then after about half an hour of doing that, you then divide them into the different quarters. Now we're talking about Traction by Gino Wickman, just off camera before, and one of the things that Gino talks about is having, is it 5 to 7 quarterly rocks? So these are the key things you want to focus on per quarter as your SMART goals. Any more than that is it's a bit too much to take on, and it's extremely overwhelming. 5 to 7 is pretty good for the overall business and for you personally, because you can store them in your head enough. Like 10 things is a bit much to store in your head, but 5 to 7 is usually enough to understand and just keep front of mind. So you divide the wish list that you want for the year, divide them into the 4 quarters for yourself or for your clients, and then you'll know what it is that you want to achieve by when as well. So don't break it up into months. I think that's a little bit too much. Break it up into the bigger chunks in the quarters, and then you can print that out or just bookmark that, and that can just be your guide throughout the year that this is what you wanted to achieve in the year. I revisit this once a month and once a quarter with my clients and once a month for my own business, and just see, is there anything I want to adjust? Is there anything I want to change? Is this goal even relevant? Do I want this anymore? How far have I come towards achieving that? And I create a card, so got like Q1 here, and I'll have like Q1 recap, and I'll just put my notes in there. So then each quarter I've got a recap of like what I think worked well, what I think didn't work well, did I get anything done, and just have a few notes. So then when I look back at the end of the year and I'm doing this session again, I can remember much easier than if I'm just trying to think about it, because it's a long time ago. Yeah.
Awesome.
So this works pretty well.
I love it. And the idea with the wish list is to not edit yourself, right? The wish list is you can basically put whatever you want on the wish list.
That's it.
Not everything on the wish list has to become a goal, right? You can have a whole bunch of stuff just left on the wish list that's just not going to happen because it's not relevant, or you've changed your mind.
That's it.
It's okay to change your mind, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah, and it's all part of it. You should change your mind, I think. Like it's
100%.
Yeah, let that part go. Like let the structure of goals that like you have to achieve them, and that is your template, and that's all you can do. Just let that mindset go, because it's not about that. Like I think it was Benjamin Franklin that came up with this. It was like, the plan isn't what's important, but planning is the most important. That's definitely not the exact quote, but that'll do.
Just a couple of things. Nancy Seeger says, must have missed the lovely change of the background. It looks great. Where have you been, Nancy? Thanks for joining us. Welcome back. Yes, we have changed the background here. Someone here shared a link more on staying productive by using rocks here. Was that you, Ray? Did you share that, Ray? No, Jin. Wow. Jin's tuned in and is keeping up and is sharing links. It's fantastic. Where's Jin? What? Who? What? Oh, there we go. There it is. Oh, there's the link there. Is that the link? Yearlyplanning.com/ there we go, wplelevation.com/ yearly-planning. That's to get Simon's Trello board, is that right? Yep, perfect. The other thing I want to talk about is, just to clear that up, goals are different to tactics, right? So your goal might be to build your email list to 5,000 subscribers by June. However, that could be a tactic. If your goal is to impact 1,000 students through your online course, for example, then part of the strategy, and you know that your conversion rates, 4% or 3% or 2% or whatever it is, then you know that part of the strategy might be, well, we need to build a large audience of people who know, like, and trust us, and then convert a percentage of that audience into paying students. So the goal is to impact 1,000 students by the end of the year. Part of that strategy may include growing the email list, which becomes a daily task. How do we grow our email list every single day? So I just want you to think about your goals and whether they are goals or whether they are tactics that are part of a bigger strategy to achieve the goals. Just think through that.
I think the way to think through that is the go wide, go deep, strategy. So
Stop it.
Yeah, it's all coming back. So yeah, build
the
the email
matrix.
list by 5,000. No, build the email list to 5,000 by June. You think, okay, great. Why?
Why?
Why do I want to do that? Like, what is that going to do? Like, why is it important? And just, keep going through that process. And when you're working with your clients, like, ask them, why is it important to do that? Because if you ask them, it really gets to the deeper goal, and you can understand, is it a tactic, is it a milestone, or is this really bigger, upper level goal that we really want to achieve? Because the smaller things, like building the email list, it might actually not be right. That could be a distraction from the why. It could be a distraction from the bigger goal.
Yeah. One question about your Trello board. If we can just flick back maybe to Simon's Trello board there for a second. Is that you standing at the base of that summit there?
Of course. Yeah, that was yesterday.
Fantastic. Mount Kosciuszko looks good this time of year, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not bad.
For those who don't know, Mount Kosciuszko is the largest mountain in Australia, and I climbed it about 3 years ago.
Oh, really?
On the 28th of December.
That's pretty impressive. Just before
Actually,
you
it's pretty
set your
easy.
goals.
It's pretty easy, actually, yeah.
Yep.
There's a chairlift that takes you, there is, fair income. There's a chairlift that takes you about 2/3 of the way.
Yep.
And then, well, because it's a ski slope, so it's very difficult to walk up the ski slope. So there's a chairlift that takes you about 2/3 of the way, and then you just walk up. There are families with prams, and it's actually one of the easiest mountains I've ever climbed, and it's the largest mountain, tallest mountain in Australia.
Climbed into
And it
the
was the
chairlift.
middle of summer, and it was bloody cold up there. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
Anyway, so anything else that we want to talk about with your Trello board?
No, do you have any
Okay.
questions about it?
If
there's anything that comes to
it makes
mind?
perfect sense to me. I mean, I've been through this process quite a bit in terms of just letting yourself go with your stream of consciousness and putting everything down on the wish list, and then triaging and saying, all right, well, I always go back to why, what, how.
Yeah.
This is the what, really. Like, what are we going to get done this year? But I don't think you can have an intelligent conversation with yourself or your business partners or other key stakeholders in your business or your life, your partner, your spouse, whatever. I don't think you can have an intelligent conversation about what it is you're trying to do this year unless you know why. Like, what is your life's purpose? Why do you get out of bed every day? And it's a big question, but I think it is a big question because it's the biggest question. Simon Sinek was right when he said start with why. He absolutely nailed it. If you get that question right, everything else falls into place. So sharing, working out which goals are the most important to achieve your why. Mike Killen, when we were in Miami, we were kind of all struggling to coin a phrase or to come up with a way of expressing our why, our vision. And Mike actually came up with this. He probably stole it from somewhere, but anyway, I'll give him credit for it.
Classic Mike.
Mike Killen came up with this. He said, fill in the blank. I imagine a world where blank. Or I want to live in a world where blank. So I love it. I imagine a world where, from a business point of view, I imagine a world where every WordPress consultant on the planet has a sustainable and profitable business that supports their lifestyle. That's why I get out of bed and come to work every day. So our goals, we then brainstorm everything we want to put down in our goals, and we triage by saying, well, these goals help us achieve our why and bring our why to life. But it's difficult to make decisions about which goals are important if you don't know your why.
Yeah.
So the why is the most important. Then once you've got your goals triaged and you put them into quarter based on how realistic you think it is that you can achieve them by when, or what other conferences are happening or other events are happening in the calendar, that's the what we're going to do. Yeah. So this makes perfect sense to me.
It's quite like we've talked about quite a few things, and it's quite a long process, really. But I think if you take it this way, where you're starting with the really bigger picture stuff, and you're really thinking about your life and what are the things that you want in it, and then you come down to the how are you actually going to achieve them, I think that overall workflow and that process is how you're going to be able to actually make sure that that happens.
I'm just answering a question here. How do we share the Trello board? If you go to wpelevation.com/yearly planning, I believe it is.
I don't think that, oh no,
Yep.
you're all over it.
If you go to wpelevation.com/yearly planning, you'll be redirected to Simon's Trello board. And if you don't have a Trello account, then you just sign up for a free Trello account, and that board will be added into your account. And then you copy the board and you can start editing it. Connie Brand, that's how you do that. So just go to wpelevation.com/yearly planning, and it will redirect you to Simon's Trello board, and you can, that's how you do that.
And I see Kerry Baker says, I think this will help me learn Trello. Just think about Trello as like smart sticky notes on a wall. So don't worry too much about learning Trello.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's just another piece of software to learn. So don't dive too deep into that,
Yep.
Kerry. But just have a look. Think about smart sticky notes that you've just got stuck on the wall. You could definitely do this as sticky notes on a wall.
Absolutely.
If you want to avoid the whole software route,
Yep.
which is a good idea sometimes. I love to go to the whiteboard when it comes to like trying to plan things out, because you can just get it out of your head and just put it somewhere, and it just helps to reduce friction a bit.
There we go. Winston Churchill quote. I'm not sure which one it was, Connie. Please remind us. But apparently I've quoted Winston Churchill.
No, I think it might have been me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was it you, was it?
It was something about planning being
Oh, yes, there you go. That's right.
something.
All right, two things I want to share with you from my computer as we are getting towards the end of this workshop. But I want to share with you what an angklung looks like. Here we go. This is an angklung. There we go. That's what an Indonesian angklung looks like. That's a single note angklung that is designed to be played in orchestras. You hold it, you put your fingers in the middle where the T section is, right here where the bow is. Where that bow is, that's where you hold it. You take the bow off. You hold it there between two fingers like that. You grab the bottom little bamboo pipe and you shake it. And these two uprights rattle in the bottom and make a note. There you go. That's what an angklung looks like. Now, what I do want to also talk about is how do we actually then go about achieving our goals on a daily basis? And so what I want to do with you is I want to share with you how I've got my calendar set up in a very broad brushstroke. This is my calendar for next week. I'm showing you next week's because the week after I'm off-site all week in a planning session with my business partner in Sydney. But next week, this is typically what my calendar might look like without appointments and meetings that come up. So let me just show you an example. Monday morning, I'm at the gym from 7 o'clock until 9 o'clock. I'm there from 7 till 8, and then I have a shower and chat with my personal trainer and, have a protein drink and flex my muscles and blow a kiss to myself in the mirror and take a bunch of photos of myself for Instagram. And then I'll make my way into the office and I kid you not, I was at the gym the other day and there was a girl at the gym. I actually felt sorry for this poor girl. She did about a half-hour run on the treadmill and then spent about an hour taking photos of herself in the mirror for Instagram. I'm assuming it was for Instagram or Tinder, one of those. And looking at every photo she took and then reposing and taking another one. It was weird. Everyone else in the gym was kind of looking at each other going, what the?
Is this what we're meant to be doing?
Yeah,
all right.
I thought we were here to work out. Anyway, so Monday mornings I'm at the gym. I'm in the office by about 9-ish Monday mornings. In fact, most Monday mornings I then go home. I work from home for a couple of hours while my wife goes to Pilates and I look after the little fella while Amy goes off to Pilates. And so Monday morning, you'll then see, every Monday morning I have this kind of 3-hour window of processes and documentation. So part of my goal is to get this business running smoothly to make sure the team knows what they're supposed to be doing and that the team has all the processes and tools that they need to do their job. So I focus for Monday morning, I focus on processes and documentation. Then we have a team meeting at 1 o'clock every Monday. And then my focus Monday afternoon is social media. So I'll do Facebook, I'll do Twitter, I'll do LinkedIn, I'll do Reddit. I'm loving Reddit at the moment. So my focus is on social media. Now, that doesn't mean I don't do anything else Monday afternoon. If Ray pings me and says the sky's falling in with Facebook ads and our cost per acquisition is going through the roof, and Brian pings me and says, you know, people are leaving the program because they don't like your haircut, Troy, and Simon says, I'm never doing a live stream with you again because you smell funny, then obviously there are things I have to deal with, right? But my focus is social media. It doesn't mean I do nothing else, but my focus for that time, I block that time in my calendar to focus on social media. Tuesday morning, I've got a podcast interview, then I've got a meeting with my business partner, and then Tuesdays at 10 o'clock, we're in here live streaming. It's in the calendar. I then have a marketing meeting at about 11 or when we finish live streaming. Then Tuesday, I've got a bit of free time, go and have lunch, go to the pub, go play golf, fill in my year ahead book with a couple of beers. And then Tuesday afternoon, I'm doing business development for an hour. I give myself an hour for business development, which is outreach to other people that I want to form relationships with. That's my version of business development. So I spend a lot of time in email, right? Wednesday morning, I've got a podcast episode with Justin Ferriman from LearnDash. Then Wednesday morning, we've got the live stream studio booked out. What I normally do is come down and do stuff for the group, for the members group, or I do a coaching call. And then Wednesday afternoons, marketing and copywriting. I've got 3 hours put aside for marketing and copywriting Wednesday afternoon. So I don't panic Monday morning if I've got a whole bunch of marketing tasks in Asana, because I know that if I can't get to it, I'll get to it Wednesday afternoon because that's what's in my calendar. And these activities, these kind of broad strokes of activities that are blocked out of my calendar are based around what my role is in the company, which is marketing and getting the operations and the processes and documentation right for the business. So processes and documentation, social media, biz dev, marketing, they're the key things. You'll notice Thursday morning I'm at the gym again for a couple of hours, taking more photos and blowing more kisses in the mirror. Then I have a processes and documentation session Thursday, live stream Thursday afternoon, biz dev Friday morning, processes and documentation Friday middle of the day, marketing and study Friday afternoon. Generally speaking, by about 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, I'm into the beer. So I'm not actually doing anything mission critical like biz dev. I'm just watching YouTube videos on how to grow an Instagram account, or I'm watching a new course on whatever it is, whatever course we've subscribed to. I'm doing some study and I'm doing some research and thinking about marketing stuff.
Not getting drunk and cold calling.
Not getting drunk and cold calling, step
That would be
away
fun,
from the phone.
Yeah.
So that's how my week is generally broken up. There's lots of gaps because things come up and I need to deal with other things.
Yeah, so do you specifically leave gaps because of that?
Yeah.
Yeah? And
Yeah.
just whatever fills the gap,
And
fills
also,
the gap kind of thing?
I try and one of my focuses this year is to try and leave more gaps for thinking time.
Right.
Here's a thing, right? This is radical and this is going to challenge everything that you think about your business and your own sense of self-worth. I've said to my team, and I say this again to everyone, and myself included, I would love nothing more than for a team member to come to me and say, I've got nothing to do. It's never going to happen. But I would love a team member to come to me and say, I've got nothing to do. I'll say, great. Start thinking about how we can better serve our clients and how we can do what we're doing even better, more efficiently, more profitably, how you can make your job more fun.
Yeah, how we can achieve that why.
Because I think all of us spend too much time being busy, feeling like we're worthwhile because we're so busy, but we're just spinning the wheels.
Yeah.
So I leave gaps. I bring my dog to work most days. I walk my dog most days at lunchtime. It gives me an opportunity to get out of the office for 20 minutes while the dog does her business, and I'm thinking. And my friend Nick Thuckalal taught me this. He said, when we put Ray on, it was a big decision to bring Ray on. And I said, well, Ray's going to come on and do all this stuff that I'm doing in the business. What am I supposed to do then? And Nick said to me, think. Just have some quiet time and think about the business and about your customers and about the value proposition.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of us do that enough.
Yeah.
So I have gaps in my calendar deliberately. I don't work from home deliberately because I like the transition. On my way home, I'm thinking. On the way to work, I'm thinking. It's only 8 minutes in the car, but I get some time to think. I go and get a coffee, I come in, I ease into the day, I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's why the commute is actually quite good. I think we talked about this about 2 years ago. I remember coming in here for co-working, and I was living in St Kilda at the time, and just walking here or however I got here, by tram or bike or whatever, just that time, sometimes I listen to a podcast, sometimes I just listen to my own brain take over kind of thing, but just having that transition between home and then work and just a little bit of crafting what it is that I'm going to do in the day and just not getting super busy immediately, it just really helps to set the scene for what's to come and reflect on what I've just been doing. I think it's very important. So Nathaniel Dunn is someone who I get coaching with, and he was telling me about when he was managing a big team when he was living in the UK, and his mentor was telling him about how he needs to plan in 2 hours per week just for thinking and planning time. It's just like block everything out, and that time, there's no to do. It's just you sit and you think about planning, and you just think about how to manage the team, how to better work in your own role and what you want to achieve. So like your role and the goals you want in that role, how are you going to achieve those better? And you need to just distance yourself from the busy work and people trying to get you to do things and emails and all of that stuff. Just turn your phone off, just block out 2 hours and just focus on doing some planning. And that was every single week. Like that's a pretty significant investment.
Yeah.
But and if that's going to be the thing that's going to actually help you achieve what you want to do, improve your business, improve your life, improve the roles that you want to achieve, then like that's one of the best investments that you should be making. Absolutely.
Hey, Pat Mayo has joined in the call. Pat is one of our team in the Philippines. Hey, Pat, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in. What else are we talking about here? Here we go. Has there been, Caesar has a question here. Has there been times when an achievable goal changed its nature and begins overtaking resources, time, money? So has there been a time where an achievable goal has actually exploded or expanded and is starting to consume resources in the business?
Yes.
Yeah?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Regularly. So one of the goals that I had was growing a team. Like I wanted to improve the team, and what we were trying to focus on at one point was improving our ability to do WordPress maintenance plans, right? So at one time, but it was probably at that one time took 2 years before I realized that we need some outside help. We can't just do this internally. I'm spending so much time thinking, resources, hiring contractors, creating processes, all this different stuff to try to solve this problem internally, because I thought that was what we needed to do. So the goal for me was improve our ability internally to maintain WordPress websites. How I thought we needed to do that was better processes and hiring contractors and training. That was one way to achieve that goal, and that wasn't the right way. I didn't assess that soon enough. I just kept like hitting my head against the wall, spending so much time. We were creating lots of errors when I really needed time to reflect and go, well, is there another way? Like, now we actually outsource to a company that specializes in doing WordPress maintenance plans. Now, to me, that was like an ego hit really hard. I was like, I've totally failed that goal. I tried so hard, all those resources, it's all wasted. And when I just, bit the bullet and said, okay, maybe later we can improve our processes, because it's not really helping us achieve anything right now by just banging our heads against a wall and wasting time and resources on this particular goal. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, that was a painful one. So.
Cami says, great minds think alike. My calendar is very similar, but I use colours to define different categories of time blocks. Awesome. What's the link for the Trello board? It is wpelevation.com/yearly-planning. Yearly-planning. That will take you to Simon's Trello board. There it is back up on the screen there. wpelevation.com/yearly-planning.
I actually have a question about your calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah? Unless you were diving into something?
Yeah. No, I was going to talk about my calendar.
Yeah. Oh, good. Perfect.
Yeah.
So what I'd like to know is how long did it take for you to actually put that in place? That's question one. And then question two is how strict do you follow that? Like how good are you at following that?
Ray and I actually knocked this out together one afternoon, didn't we? We kind of mapped it out on a piece of paper to begin with to say, okay, what does Monday morning look like? I'm at the gym, I don't care what you do. I'm at the gym, like that's it. That's what I do Monday mornings, I'm at the gym. Friday afternoons, also said to Ray, I ain't doing anything mission critical Friday afternoons because my head's already in the weekend.
So you put in like two really important things? Like,
yep, and Thursday morning I'm at the gym.
Yeah.
And then I said, okay, well, I should be doing marketing, I should be doing some processes and documentation, I should be doing biz dev, I should be doing, social media. These are the kind of the big ticket items that I should be doing. I'm just gonna, and I kind of thought about where my energy levels are during the week.
Yep.
So Monday morning, I also thought about where our audience is. There's no point me doing biz dev on a Monday morning because most of my partners that I want to develop the business with are in a different time zone in the States or in Europe, and it's Sunday night for them, they're asleep. So there's no point me doing, sure, I could drop something in their inbox first thing Monday morning, but I'm better off doing biz dev when they're awake. So that's why I decided, and Monday morning I'm pretty fresh. After the gym, I come back in the office, I'm very motivated. You know, Brian Tracy says, eat the frog. Mm-hmm. So do the big, hairy task that you're trying to avoid, do that first thing, and that for me is processes and documentation. It's generally the boring, unsexy work that entrepreneurs avoid doing because it's, you know, boring and unsexy. But that's why I do it Monday morning when I first get in, and then Monday, you know, and then I sort of looked at my week and went, this is where I think, so it only took maybe an hour to knock it out.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not 100% strict on sticking to it. What it does is, if I'm ever sitting at my desk and I'm not sure, because I've always said this, my challenge has always been, I don't know what the best use of my time is right now at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon. What should I be doing right now? I look to my calendar and I say, it says marketing and copy. I go, oh, look at that. Funnily enough, I'm writing emails in Infusionsoft for another marketing campaign that we're rolling out. So I'm actually doing what I should be doing. So for me, I just use it as a guiding light to say, right, this is what you should be doing right now. It keeps me coming back to what my focus is.
Yeah.
I get distracted all the time, on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, multiple times a
During
minute.
this live stream,
I get distracted all the time. Who are you? And what is
Why
art?
are we here?
I get distracted all the time. I mean, that's just part of the way my brain works. And I've learned to embrace that.
Yeah.
And so I don't fight it anymore.
That's it. Fighting
I don't
it
fight
is
it,
just
man.
the painful
I
battle.
love rabbit holes. I said to my wife recently, I've just realised that I need to be down a rabbit hole. And if you pull me out of one rabbit hole, I'm going to find another one to go down because I'm built to solve problems. And I was talking to a business partner of mine, well, not a business partner, but a potential partner of mine recently from Mexico. And he was saying, you know, he said, human beings are built to solve problems. I would rather choose the problems to solve rather than have life just throw problems at me. So that's why I love going down rabbit holes. This is a philosophical conversation now, but welcome to our live stream. I like choosing the problems to solve. That's why I always like to be doing things, which is, I've accepted that about myself. So I just use this calendar as a way of guiding me back on track to try to keep me focused. Yeah? I can't do granular, you know, Dan Kennedy famously says that he blocks out every 15-minute time slot during the day for his consulting. And I can't operate like that. I just can't do it.
It doesn't work for me.
I feel like a caged tiger. You know?
Yeah, and that's fine. You know, that works for someone. It doesn't work for you.
Yeah.
That's fine. So you got to kind of experiment and accept how you are.
Yeah.
And that's where the reflection time I think is really important. Because if you're new to this and you're trying one of these calendar tools or trying something out, you have to have the reflection time to go, did that work? Like, did that work for me? Is that, like, it feels a bit awkward? I don't really like how this works. Should I keep going with this? Or is this something I'm going to ditch and save some time and then try something else? Yeah. So I think that really helps to get...
The thing about frameworks, and Chanel Renee says, that's very profound. Thank you, Chanel. Tiffany says, oh God, I'm so distractible. It's my biggest hurdle. Tiffany, what's that over there? Yeah. The thing about frameworks and tactics and systems is, I've learned over the years that you need to understand what your sweet spot is. You need to understand what your strengths are and what you enjoy the most, and play to your strengths. We spend a lot of time at work, you may as well enjoy it and do what you're good at, right? Because that's when you do your best work and that's when you add the most value to your business and your customers. So there's no point having a great system and a great framework, even what we've shared with you today. There's no point taking this and trying to shove yourself into it if you don't fit. The idea is to take what you learn and tweak it so that it fits and supports you so that you can be in your sweet spot and you can be in your flow, right? We've just hired Robert Simmons to do our SEO for us here. He's one of our customers. And the reason we hired him is Ray and I had this conversation. Ray and I actually really like SEO, and we actually think we're quite good at it. SEO is a bit of a science and a bit of an art, and we both get that. And it's a very nuanced thing, SEO, right? And Ray and I could probably do SEO really well for our business. And I said to Ray, with the limited resources and time that we've got, do you think it's the best use of our time? Because I tell you what, no one else can do right now in this business is come down here and make lots of content in the studio, right? That, I believe, that's where you, Ray, myself and Jin should be spending most of our time, is in here making content for our audience.
Yep.
So I have to sacrifice something. I'm not going to sacrifice this because this is absolutely my sweet spot. So I'm gonna let go of the SEO as much as I would love to be involved in it.
And even though you can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to hire Robert to do it, and I'm
Yeah.
going to work with Robert, and I'm going to watch what Robert does, I'm going to track all the analytics and all the data and goof off and nerd out and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm not actually going to do it. Robert's going to do it because I need to be doing this, because this is where I'm the most valuable.
Yep.
Right? And I've built structures and systems and frameworks and a team around the business that supports me to do what I do best,
Yeah.
which is educate and
Yep.
inspire and motivate.
Yep.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
Cool. So it's good. Paula says, I'm built to solve problems. I want to choose the problems I solve. That's great. It is good. Going to hold on to that one. Is there anything else? I think what we do need to talk about very quickly is what should you be doing right now in order to set goals for your year so that you can achieve those goals and actually move the needle and make a great positive impact on your business. The first thing you might want to do, if Trello works for you or you don't already have something set up in your business, is access Simon's Trello board at wpelevation.com/yearly-planning to access Simon's Trello board. And then work through some of the tools that we've shared with you, your best self, your Yis Compass, or just identify the goals. Use Simon's Trello board to write down a wish list of all of the goals that you want to achieve this year. Make sure that they're about 75% achievable so that they're going to motivate you, but they are realistic. And then just move those goals into each quarter based on either yearly events that are happening in your space or how realistic you think it is to achieve those goals by those timeframes. And then block time in your calendar to focus on those different parts of your life and your business, your health, your relationships and your business, to make sure that you dedicate some time to achieve those goals. It will help you stay focused, it will keep you calmer, and it will reduce stress. And having some goals set will help you make decisions in your business, because every opportunity will either help you get closer to your goal or it is a distraction, and you just need to be honest with yourself about those choices.
That's it. Yeah. And putting together what you were saying before about like eat that frog.
Mm-hmm.
So when you've put together all of your goals and you've got this laid out, your plan, and you're setting time in your calendar, do that early. Do that first, because you've looked at your goals. You want to make sure that the first thing you can do in the morning is go and do some tasks that are going to actually work towards those things. Because once they're done, everything else that life throws at you, or the business throws at you, or everything else that gets thrown your way, you can deal with that afterwards, knowing that you've made some steps. You've put one brick in the wall to be able to build that amazing castle that you're going to have at the end of the year.
Jen Sikowski, who has just had her third baby, by the way, says, I love that. Just because I like doing it doesn't mean I should do it.
This is it.
There you go. And my brother says, planning, great way to start the year. Awesome. Thanks, Lee. Thanks for tuning in. It was great to hang out with you and the family over Christmas and introduced Oscar to his cousins, my nephew and niece. My brother's got an 18-year-old and a 15-year-old, and I've got a 6-month-old.
Very
And
cool.
they're his cousins. Yeah, it was very cool indeed. It was awesome. Hey, I think we're good, man.
Yeah.
This has been fun.
Yeah, definitely, man.
This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
This is why we do what we do.
Yeah.
So we are, you may know we're launching, it was your second baby. Sorry, Jen. I've just said it was her third baby. It was her second baby. Sorry, Jen. We are launching a new YouTube channel this year and a show. It looks something like this. It'll have different branding, similar content, same audience. We're here to help you run a WordPress consulting business and grow your business. The show is called Silence is Golden. For those of you that can figure it out, there's a nice little WordPress Easter egg in there for you. It is at 10 o'clock Tuesday mornings, that's Sydney time. So it's around about 3 p.m. Monday afternoons if you're in Los Angeles. I'll let you look at the world clock and figure it out for the rest of you who are scattered all over the planet. It is a live stream show where we talk about one specific part of your business, and we try and share with you, just like we've done today, we share with you what we do and what works for us and what we've learned, and we share some templates and tools to get you started. So make sure you get on over to YouTube and subscribe to our channel. Just go to wpelevation.com/YouTube, subscribe to our channel to get notified of when we go live on Silence is Golden. And please leave us a comment. Hit us up here and tell us what you want to learn about running your WordPress consulting business. And we're going to see them again next week for the first episode of Silence is Golden for 2018.
Yeah, well, what we're going to do straight after this, one of our goals this year is to make sure that we're a bit more planned when it comes to these Silence is Golden episodes. So straight after we turn off the cameras, we're actually going to plan the next episode, so we get that locked in place. That'll help Ray be a lot happier in his life, and it'll help us know what we're doing before we sit down about to go live like we've done a couple of times. So I think this would actually be quite interesting. Have a look back in the previous live streams that we've done, and just see the journey that we've done. There's I would love to say there's quite a few gold nuggets in the previous episodes for sure. Even though there were our beta, our alpha episodes, I think there's definitely some value that we've shared in there. And as Troy said, let us know what you'd love to learn. Even if it's a bit of a recap on some of the things we've already done or going a bit deeper, we'd absolutely love to know what would be valuable for you, and we'd love to share that with you.
A couple of final comments. Stephen Spry says, when I was teaching, the kids called me Mr. Y simply because I kept asking the why question all the time. When I was a 6-year-old annoying, petulant little child, I used to say to my dad, why, all the time. I'd say, Dad, why is the sky blue? Because of the atmosphere. Why? Because we need to breathe. Why? Because if we don't breathe, we die. Why? And I would just go on and on and on. And my dad's favourite saying was, end of conversation. And it used to drive me nuts. And I used to say, but Dad, why is it the end of the conversation? And he'd say, because I'm your dad and they're the rules. And I'd say, but why are they the rules? Because you can't stop asking why. I've never stopped asking why.
Because back then you could still hit a kid.
That's right. You could still hit a kid back then. Unfortunately, you can't hit children anymore. Jen Sikowski says, hashtag no more babies. And Dennis Smith says, nice job, guys. I'm going to watch all your videos. Make sure you step outside and get some vitamin D as well, Dennis. Don't end up like... sorry. And people are saying, this is great. Thank you very much. Awesome session. Hey, thanks for joining in. This has been epic. There were 185 viewers at one point watching this live stream, and we didn't blow up Facebook, and there were no midstream ads. Woohoo! Awesome. Good stuff. Loving it. We'll see you again next week on Silence is Golden. Until then, I'm Troy Dean.
I'm Simon Kelly.
Go elevate.